Buongiorno, ciao, ciao.
I consider myself part Italian. I've spent a healthy amount of time in Italy to know that not even Eat, Pray, Love fully embodies just how robust the food culture is. The overall energy is more electric than Tesla, and the quality of food is more succulent than biting into a watermelon. I've carried a part of Italy with me wherever I am. And my passion for cooking has lit up kitchens and dinner parties to the point where my husband sometimes applauds us after meals,
Marry me again.
leaving me feeling like the kitchen version of Pavarotti. See, I remember those days. They were bellissima, but I don't know what happened. Something just changed and I could not get into the kitchen and cook. My passion for cooking just became totally stale. But if I have to really think about it, I might just be able to put my finger on the root of the problem, you see. This piccoli bad habit depended over a period of time. You know how to say, I had one of those busy seasons that didn't have an end point. My days just flew past and I found myself often in the kitchen hangry. I don't know if you've ever felt that. I never had the time or the right ingredients to whip up a nourishing meal. So what do you do when good food's not an option, or a quick option at that? I found myself ordering takeouts. Lots of takeouts. But then one day, after ordering pizza for the 4th night in a row, I found myself sad. I was curious about my feelings and found myself missing my homemade pizza. It was so light, so jam-packed with flavor and consistently brilliant every time. I asked myself why I stopped making pizza. I then asked myself why I stopped cooking altogether. My mind was completely blank. I could only think of my simple pizza recipe and then avo on toast with a fried egg. Scary. I sat in this moment for a while and nothing happened. It's like someone jumped into my brain and cleared out all of my inner recipe files. Whoa. Now, I don't often use recipes to cook food, so this was a strange feeling. It's like takeout after takeout robbed me of what used to come naturally. I had a case of takeout palate fatigue, and I wanted a wholesome diet again that made my heart smile. I needed help. I went to the bookstore in search of a cooking book that could perhaps ignite that spark in me again. But as someone who's never really relied on recipes in the past, this turned out to be an overwhelming experience. I couldn't pronounce many of the ingredients and I couldn't visualize what I needed to get to the end result. I started to wonder if I would ever cook again. But then this Lumo green heading popped out from the cluttered shelves and a familiar face was on the cover. Jamie Oliver. Jamie always seemed like a nice bloke, but today he was extra awesome because his book was titled 5 Ingredients. Wow, I wanted to give him a big hug. I celebrated that there was an approachable option to get me back into the kitchen, which used to be a happy space for me. I paged through the pages and the food looked good. I walked out with a new book and a heart full of hope. I then went straight to buy groceries. I purchased enough ingredients for 2 nights worth of food. Interestingly, 4 out of 5 ingredients were easy to find, but I always seemed to struggle to find one ingredient. However, I did end up finding some version of what was suggested. Now I'm gonna share some things that would have been really helpful to know before I started, and I'll put all of those tips at the end of the video for you. I'll also make sure to leave timestamps so you can just skip ahead to whichever part of the video that you'd most like to watch. But what I'm gonna do now is take the next few minutes of your time to walk you through my 7-day challenge where I hope to reignite the spark of cooking that I once had. And that starts with day 1. So my husband and I decided to have our first meal combining vegetables and chicken. And the big reason behind this is the picture was pretty. The recipe included potatoes, cauliflower, coriander, chicken, and chicken tikka curry paste. I put on some good music to create a bit of a mood. I twirled into the kitchen and found a rhythm of reading instructions, enjoying the moment, and forming a dish that smelled really, really good. And the outcome of my dish resembled Jamie's picture, which lit me up with confidence. This was such a win that I could not wait for day 2. It's been a while since we've had vegetables in this household, and yesterday's dish was truly buono that for day 2's meal, we didn't stray too far off from what already worked. We opted for the Harissa chicken Traybake, and if I'm saying Harissa incorrectly, it's because I have never ever heard of Harissa before. The ingredients included mixed peppers, red onions, chicken, rose harissa, and mint. The dish came together easily again. Well, onions brew. And my heart was as full as my belly was going to be later. I cannot express in words how good it felt. It's as if some part of me resurrected again. Again, I took my spot center stage in the kitchen. I paged through the book and found myself captivated by a good-looking fish dish. There were pops of color, and it seemed like a hearty meal, just what I was in the mood for. The recipe included rice, green olive, tapenade, mixed colored cherry tomatoes, basil, and fish fillets. Now, I needed a bigger dish. What I was making seemed to run from the pan and flood my kitchen floor. However, I managed to keep things under control and create a meal that gets the salivary glands going. It was so tasty. The flavors punched each side of your mouth, but the texture was a win too. I had a full tummy, a full heart, and a mind full of hope that I was stepping into the part of me that loved to cook again. My husband personally requested the dish that the book calls sticky lamb chops.
Score the fat. I don't know, my love, is that like cut the fat off?
Definitely not. No, that's like make little crosses on it. Hopefully the flavor still stays.
Maybe we'll just put the fat in the pan there next to the meat.
Yeah, let's give that a try.
Kind of messed this one up.
It may have been a good idea to read the recipe ahead of time and maybe look up some words. This dish is art. It looks so beautiful. Even as you combine each element in the process, it's just gorgeous to look at. We couldn't find multicolored carrots, but the plain orange one still showed up and performed both in appearance and taste. The combination of flavors was something I could never dream up. The final texture was gorgeous too. The meal was one of the most delicious meals I have ever eaten. But we were still hungry after dinner. We should have added rice or potatoes maybe, but we finished the night off with pizza.
That happened.
My husband took one look at what I wanted to cook and bowed out. I was cooking for me today. One giant salad. I've come from months of barely touching meat. So I've been eating it every day. I now needed a break. The salad was made up of butternut, rose harissa, avocados, salad leaves, and a ball of mozzarella cheese. Yum! The dish was beautiful. So very beautiful. The colors and textures blended together beautifully, and it tasted just as good as it looks. Day 6 brought another party to my pan and was arguably more delicious than we could have ever imagined. The book refers to this meal as messy meatball buns. My word, they were messy to make. It felt like I was in primary school again, just throwing things together and destroying my somewhat clean kitchen. But I didn't care because I was having fun. I loved making this meal, and it's going to be a staple in this house for years to come because it was packed with flavor and yet so easy to make. I could not remember what on earth I cooked for day 7. When I found the files, I remembered why it slipped my mind. It's sad to say that the last dish was average, but this one was super forgettable for us. It could be because the picture didn't trigger my least favorite meal in the world. Where I'm from, it's called pap. I don't get pap vibes from the picture at all. And when I saw the ingredients, I felt the makings of something wonderful. The ingredients were garlic, basil, plum tomatoes, chia butter, and Parmesan cheese. Well, if you throw them all together in a pan, you end up with my least favorite thing in the world, a tomato version of pap. So, was the challenge worth it? Even though the last meal of the challenge was a meal I had to force myself to finish, I'm in a position where I have a friend coming over for dinner tonight, where I'm cooking for both of us.
I don't know, guys, it really feels like the bug is back, and I think it's only fair to refer to it as a bit of a British bug. But I'm sure that I've still got a little bit of Italian blood bubbling in my veins.
It really is such a brilliant book because there are all of these professional photos that inspire you with what you can make. And it's crazy because the outcome is very much like what you see in the picture. And what I also like are the pictures here on the side. This is really helpful for when you go shopping, because if you're like me, I didn't have a lot of confidence in the aisles, but when I could see what I was looking for, it did make things look a lot more approachable. It was sometimes a little bit difficult to find something that looked the same, but I had an idea, I guess, of what I was looking for, which did help quite a lot. But I think the big takeaway for me was that the book actually made the decision-making process of cooking a lot quicker and easier too. I don't have to think so hard or rely solely on passion to get me cooking. Instead, I could focus on creating a bit of a mood and then focus on following instructions. That makes me feel as good on the inside as I do on the outside. Now, did I always follow instructions? No. I often find myself rebelling against recipes because I don't like to be exact. But this can make cooking a lot harder than it needs to be. So I would recommend you not only looking at what you need to make a certain dish, but that you also familiarize yourself with the process, because we know ourselves best. You know if it's going to take you the extra 20 minutes to chop onions, for those cry breaks. Or maybe when it comes to garlic, you're a little bit slower on the crushing and peeling part. If you had a kitchen hiatus like myself, add another 15 to 20 minutes onto the cooking time. Actually, now that I think about it, I cooked this dish too. So I made 8 dishes, I think, in 7 days. With this dish, it was quite interesting. I don't know, you might find this helpful. I was really hungry when I was cooking this one, and I rushed it quite a bit. I was supposed to put it back in the oven for a second round, and I was actually so hungry that I just sort of dug in because everything was cooked. It just needed some lemon on. But what ended up happening is I ended up eating this potato and chicken dish. It would have helped if I put it back into the oven because I got a very concentrated dose of sour lemon juice that was freshly pressed. Not the best idea from me. So make sure that you cook everything in its entirety or your taste buds are going to pay the price. Also, when it comes to cooking with a pan, I had never cooked with a pan in an oven before, and I kept forgetting about how hot the handle would be, and when I was serving, I kept burning my hand. It was the most painful experience ever. So what I would recommend is, if you're using the pan, maybe put something over the handle immediately as you take it out so that you don't make the same mistake that I made. But I think my biggest tip would be to go shopping for 2 meals at a time, because what we found is with some of the meals there was so much leftovers that we could eat it for lunch and dinner again. But overall, buying this book has to be one of the best decisions I've made this entire year, because it's got me to get back into the kitchen and make meals that make my soul feel so good. I think for me, at least in that busy season, I thought that watching a series and eating a takeout would make me feel calm and relaxed, but it didn't really make me feel that great on the inside. Where now I'm in the kitchen, I've got good music on, it's a beautiful form of entertainment, and sometimes it even feels a bit therapeutic and artistic. I get to unleash my creative juices while I'm creating something that's pretty nourishing. I guess I'm just really happy to be cooking again. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel if you'd like to see more challenges from me in the future. I'll link my morning pages challenge for you in the end screen, because if you enjoyed this video, I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy that video too. You can check that one out after this one. But thank you for spending your time with me. I wish you loads of fun in your kitchen, and I'll see you in one of my next videos. Take care, guys. Bye.